In this Prisma Cloud demo, we're going to take a look at some of the Cloud Security Posture Management, or CSPM, capabilities of the product. Before we get started, I just want to show how easy it is to onboard a cloud account. It's as simple as clicking Settings, Cloud Account, Add New, selecting the relevant cloud we want to onboard, choosing whether Prisma Cloud will monitor the security posture of the environment, or monitor and protect, which enables you to have Prisma Cloud automatically remediate misconfigurations as they are discovered. From there, it's as simple as adding your relevant cloud account details. And from there, Prisma Cloud begins building an inventory of all of the assets or resources deployed across your multi-cloud environment. You have a high-level overview of all of the unique assets deployed across your multi-cloud environments, how many have passed relevant compliance standards, which we'll get to more in a minute. And then you can also see a trending view of as new assets or resources are deployed over time in your cloud environment, how many of them are passing or failing security standards that you place, as well as more granular details of every service name, where we can click in to more details and see specifically how many unique assets of a particular service are deployed in the relevant clouds. Again, a trending view. As more assets are deployed, your cloud environment and adoption grows. How is their security status trending, as well as the specific resource types. Now, jumping over to the SecOps dashboard, this is where we can begin to see an overview of your cloud security posture. So from top instances by role, alert level by severity, policy violations and over time, to top internet connected resources. I'll get to this more in a minute. Risk ranking by scanned accounts. Now, this is pretty unique to Prisma Cloud because Prisma Cloud actually ingests data not only from the cloud service providers, but from third-party vulnerability intelligence sources like Qualys or Tenable, the cloud service native providers like AWS GuardDuty, as well as Palo Alto Network sources like AutoFocus. It can actually build a deep contextual understanding of risk and then automatically risk rank every alert in your environment by level of severity. So security teams know exactly what are the most critical situations that demand immediate or most urgent attention. Additionally, we can show you globally everywhere that internet traffic is accessing your cloud accounts, as well as an overlay of known suspicious IPs with the specific ports or protocols that traffic is being accepted on. Now, on the topic of top internet connected resources, it's interesting to see a database, for example, that has accepted traffic directly from the public internet. Now, this is not always a good situation. And one of the things that you'll notice about the Prisma Cloud UI is how actionable it is. By simply clicking into this particular database, you'll see Prisma Cloud populates the Investigate tab of the product, along with a network topology map showing the resource in question, along with its relevant product metadata, firewall or security group configurations. Prisma Cloud has surfaced this yellow exclamation point because it's saying, hey, there's something wrong or misconfigured about the resource. Not only that, Prisma Cloud is showing us that this resource has actually accepted traffic from these specific ports from a known suspicious IP address. Now, knowing that a resource is potentially misconfigured is very valuable information. Knowing that due to a misconfiguration, the resource is accepting traffic from a known suspicious IP address is even more valuable. But perhaps at this point, we want to know, well, how did this problem first get introduced into the environment to begin with? By clicking on the resource ID, we're able to dig a little bit deeper, and Prisma Cloud brings up the audit trail, where from the moment the resource was first deployed into your cloud environment, And Prisma Cloud assessed the configuration of the resource, found some errors, and proactively surfaced alerts to then every time the resource was updated, Prisma Cloud captures a diff of the changes and by whom. This enables you to go back to the very beginning of time of the resource and understand which developer or which user is making changes to that resource, and any time a change is made, that triggers additional alerts or security violations. Now, the Investigate section within Prisma Cloud is one of the most valuable areas of the product because it enables you to ask nearly any configuration, event, or network question about your cloud environments in a cloud-agnostic query language called RQL, or Resource Query Language. One of the most interesting queries that we can ask Prisma Cloud to surface is show me all resources deployed across my cloud environment that have accepted traffic from known suspicious IP addresses and have known host vulnerabilities. This is one of the most critical situations of your cloud environment, and you can see in just seconds, Prisma Cloud surfaces the relevant resources. Again, similar to the previous example, we can look at the specific resource metadata, and we can click into the resource itself to learn more about how the issue was first introduced into the environment, what vulnerabilities, specific CVEs, were found of that particular resource, and we can look at these again in the Findings tab as well, where Prisma Cloud has found a specific host vulnerability with this CVE and additional details about where it was sourced from, the severity of the CVE, etc. Now, one of the other powerful capabilities of the Investigate tab is to turn any RQL, any query that you make in Prisma Cloud, into a cloud-agnostic policy that spans your multi-cloud environments with a single click. Let's say you want to turn this hosts with known vulnerabilities query that I showed earlier into a cloud-agnostic policy. By simply clicking Create Policy, we can do that. Now, we give the policy a description, set the severity level of the policy. We can assign any relevant labels to the policy that we're creating. We can set this query. We can see that Prisma Cloud has already validated this query to be accurate. We can set any one of the compliance standards that Prisma Cloud ships with, or any custom compliance standard to the particular policy we're building. We can set any relevant remediation steps as well. And that's how, in just a few easy steps, you can turn any investigative RQL policy query into a specific cloud-agnostic policy. Now, Prisma Cloud ships out of the box with over 600 cloud policies categorized by audit event, configuration, network, and perhaps some of the most interesting policies are these anomaly-based policies, which use machine learning. So, for example, Prisma Cloud can surface alerts for unusual user activities or unusual port or protocol activities that might signal malicious insider activity, stolen or compromised credentials that traditional policies may not alert on. Now, one of the foundational components of any cloud security posture management tool is compliance. Prisma Cloud provides an overview of compliance posture against any one of these compliance frameworks that ship out of the box within Prisma Cloud. Clicking into any one of them, for example, dives a little bit deeper into the details of how the cloud environment's compliance trend has fared over time, along with all of the unique assets or resources that are mapped to this compliance standard, how many have passed, how many have failed. And again, we can look specifically at the compliance requirement, the specific policies mapped to the requirement, the resources that have passed and failed these specific requirements. Creating an audit-ready report against any one of the compliance frameworks can be achieved with a simple click. Just give it a name, what email address you want to send the compliance report to. You can set this to happen once or on a reoccurring schedule. And in just seconds, Prisma Cloud will generate a PDF compliance report that is ready to hand to an auditor. Now, within Prisma Cloud, you can either map compliance standards against any one of the out-of-the-box compliance frameworks that are fully supported within the product, or of course, by clicking Add New, you can build any custom compliance standard for Prisma Cloud. Now, one of the last things that I want to touch on in the cloud security posture management capabilities within Prisma Cloud are the alerts. So, well, most users will configure Prisma Cloud to export alerts to an existing SIM, SOAR, ticketing, ChatOps tooling. There are some capabilities to resolve and remediate alerts directly within Prisma Cloud. So let's take, for example, this particular policy, AWS security groups allowing internet traffic. Prisma Cloud provides a description of the policy, recommendations on how to address any violating resource. We can see here details on the alerts that have been triggered for resources that have violated this particular policy, and Prisma Cloud enables us to take a few actions here. We can either dismiss the alert, snooze the alert, come back to it later, or even remediate the alert, in which case Prisma Cloud will automatically generate the CLI command required to successfully ensure that this particular resource now adheres to this particular policy. As I was alluding to at the beginning of this demo, if you set Prisma Cloud to read-write access, it can automatically execute this command for a continuously robust security posture. Finally, one of the last options that Prisma Cloud provides within its alerting capabilities is the ability to go in and investigate this alert, in which case it'll bring us back to the Investigate tab of Prisma Cloud, where you can dig a little bit deeper to understand more about this particular alert. Now, this is just a high-level overview of the specific cloud security posture management capabilities within Prisma Cloud. I highly encourage you to take a look at our compute demo for an in-depth look at some of the cloud workload protection capabilities that are also part of the Prisma Cloud cloud-native security platform.
Hello. In this demo video, I'm going to provide an overview of Prisma Cloud cloud workload protection capabilities, where we provide protection for hosts, containers, and serverless functions across the complete application lifecycle. To begin, I'm going to show you the radar view. Prisma Cloud provides a powerful view into the live security posture of your hosts, containers, and functions. Clicking on any of the tabs under radars will surface all of the entities that I'm protecting across any of my multi or hybrid cloud infrastructure. To begin, I'm going to focus on the container radar. Here, I've deployed entities on multiple locations with Kubernetes and Docker. To begin, I'm going to click on this application here, and one of the things you'll instantly see is that Prisma Cloud has surfaced a live network topology of all of the connections of this individual entity. I can understand information not only from these traffic flows, but also from the latest vulnerability, compliance, and runtime intelligence that we've identified with this application. We bring data into Prisma Cloud from the Prisma Cloud intelligence stream, which includes not only the latest vulnerability data, but also our advanced threat protection data, like IP reputation lists and malware data. If I wanted to understand more about the vulnerability posture of this individual container, I could click into the Vulnerabilities tab here. We'll see the severity of all the known issues and can instantly expand any of them to see not only the severity, but the package, original CVE source, the fixed status, and any risk factors associated with this entity. We provide these capabilities for all of your hosts, container images, and functions from unified views like this one. Additionally, if I wanted to understand more about the compliance posture of this entity, I could come over to the Compliance tab. Here, for example, I can see that I've stored private keys in the image, and we've got information here about this specific issue, but we're also going to look at checks from the Docker, Kubernetes, and Linux CIS benchmarks, as well as any other custom compliance checks that you may have implemented. We also have a powerful view where you could go layer by layer through the Docker file that was used to build this image in real time. If I want to learn more about everything happening globally in my environment, I can use the powerful features under Monitor to see all of the vulnerabilities and compliance issues to help me prioritize risk or ensure compliance. For example, within Vulnerability Explorer, you'll see powerful top 10 lists across images, hosts, and functions. Here, we provide a proprietary risk score of the greatest risk in your environment correlated to each individual CVE. If there's a CVE found across your infrastructure, we'll pull all of that information into an isolated view so you can quickly understand and respond to any of the risk you see here. Here, I'll pop into another image vulnerability where I could quickly expand the risk tree so I could instantly see exactly what host this image is running on. I can also see the risk profile, which is quite high for this issue. So I can see that I've deployed this container without a mandatory security profile applied. It has listing ports, and it's running as root, adding to its security rating. I can also see any of the other vulnerability factors that correlate and add to this risk. Most importantly, I'm able to see vulnerability data across the entire application lifecycle from this single view. I can look at code repositories, images, whether I want to look at builds or image registries, and then I can even come into the CVE viewer to specifically look for a CVE if there was something noteworthy that I wanted to look for. We have a very similar view for compliance. We provide a global rollup that we call Compliance Explorer, looking at all of our pre-built checks, as well as any custom compliance checks that you may want to implement. You can dive into those here, just like you can in our live radar view, and as well as pipe this data out to quickly report on it. All of the checks that you see here, as well as all of the vulnerability settings, are fully customizable within Prisma Cloud. For example, if I come to the Vulnerability Rules tab, I can quickly add rules governing alerting or blocking across the application lifecycle. I can apply it based on container or image name, across hosts, or other entities in my environment. And I could even set a blocking rule to apply a rule only when there's a vendor fix available for full customization. I also have the ability to customize rules across hosts, containers, and functions when it comes to compliance. So here, if I come into the container and image compliance tab, I can quickly see that we have compliance templates mapped to GDPR, PCI, NIST SP 800-190, and HIPAA compliance guidance. Clicking on any of those pre-built templates will automatically adjust the nearly 400 checks across all of my infrastructure. And I can quickly customize and edit these default checks to my liking. These checks also apply to hosts and functions, and we also provide other powerful compliance capabilities like trusted images, where you can isolate the original source of your images to ensure that your development or DevOps team isn't pulling images or deploying them from unwanted sources. You can also set up custom compliance checks using our code editor found within Prisma Cloud. For the last part of the demo, I want to highlight some of our powerful runtime capabilities. For both hosts, containers, and functions, we provide the ability to automatically build a model of known application behavior and essentially lock it down or compare any new activity against that baseline of behavior. So I'll click into one of my containers at random, and here you can see that we have an active model correlated to the SHA-256 of the image, and I can quickly see all the known process, network, file system, or capability components that Prisma Cloud automatically identified because of the Prisma Cloud Defender agent being deployed in the environment. We would provide the same here with host observations. Anytime something deviates from the known good model of application behavior, we'll surface either an event audit or a runtime security incident. These audits are correlated across containers, hosts, and serverless. For example here, I can see several container audits across my infrastructure where unusual activity occurred, and I can then see what happened with Prisma Cloud. Did we alert on it? Did we block it? And you can dive into this for further analysis. There are many different event types that you can hop into. For example, for hosts, we can also look at host audit behavior. We can look at host log inspection activity, host file integrity rules governing read-write access, as well as other host activities that we've detected, such as logins or app modifications. When there's something that's serious that occurs, that Prisma Cloud flags as a security incident, we automatically capture that data and store it securely for analysis, as well as provide a powerful view within here Incident Explorer. Here, we'll surface the attack category or the threat category, the kill chain of the incident, the view with radar, and you can even click on the View Forensic Data tab to quickly understand exactly what happened when this incident was identified. You can see things such as new containers being started or connections established, and quickly zip through to understand more information about this event. If you wanted to, you can even export this data for further analysis. Thank you very much for this demo of the Prisma Cloud Cloud Workload Protection set of capabilities. I hope you'll learn more at PaloAltoNetworks.com. Thank you.